This Shabbat, we talk about peace. Pinchas, the name of this week's portion, is given the blessing of peace. He stood up for the integrity and for the wholeness of our people Israel. And because he was so committed to the dignity of Am Yisrael, he was given the blessing of peace. But the word shalom, relating to the blessing of Pinchas, is written with a vav, shalom, that is broken. So that the word can be read shalom, which means peace, but it could also be read shalem, which means whole and complete. And what would the difference be? Well, when it comes to unity, there is the possibility of a mechanical unity. That is when you take disparate parts that don't really belong to one another and you weld and connect them to one another so that they begin to serve a bigger purpose that is exponentially greater than the sum of the individual parts. For example, you take a bumper and you take a carburetor and an engine and upholstered seats and you put them in exactly the right formation, the right proportions, and according to the right plan, and out emerges an automobile, a car. And the car has a goal and a purpose and an ability that is much, much greater than the individual parts or the sum of them. The unity, however, remains mechanical because there isn't an essential connection between the bumper and the engine and the rearview mirror. They are parts, different parts that are put together so that they can serve a common purpose. But then there is an organic unity. An organic unity is when a tree or any living creature is put together of its different parts, and every single part carries the signature and the cell that is identical in one part and the other. The leaves and the branches and the roots carry the same DNA. A human being, his toe and his brain are connected and share a common signature that says this is one human being. And so it is when the unity between people is achieved. There can be a mechanical unity, and that is when human beings remain separate, don't really have a connection to one another, but they have a common purpose. They hold up a flag, they have an ambition, they have an aim, and they pool their resources together to achieve something great. But each individual remains their own little world. And then there is organic unity that exists between people. And that is when we recognize that we are brothers and sisters, sons and daughters of Hashem. We carry the same DNA. We carry the same breath of godliness inside of us. Whether we're more religious or less religious, more knowledgeable or less knowledgeable, whether we practice more or practice less, whatever human being we are children of Hashem, and we carry that DNA. That is the unity of Shalem, which means whole and complete, which transcends Shalom, which is a peace that is brokered between different parts or different beings or different nations, different worlds that find a commonality and are able to live next to one another. The peace that Aaron is given is the peace that we aim for in ourselves, inner peace, in the peace in our homes, and the peace of our people Israel. May we recognize that our oneness is not just a collection of disparate parts. We belong to one another. We are essentially one. We are Am Yisrael. May Hashem give us all the ability to recognize the power of peace, Shalom, and the power of wholeness, which is Shalem. Have a beautiful Shabbos.